Hi, everyone. I am going to try to invite Jill here and request to be in your add viewers. Let's see. Let's do Jill. And I am doing this right now. We'll get this. We will. It's a weird week. I don't know about anybody else. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Your viewers. Let's try this again. Jill Johnson Young. Let's see. Add viewers. I'd like to add viewers. There we go. You can add them at any point. And no results found. What? Let's try. You're here. Let's try again. Jill, we're gonna figure this out. I know it. So, oh, there we go. Approve. Yes. Yes, add. Hey, did this... Are you here, Jill? You're here. And they're adding you. They're accepting. And here we are. In a way that it's just amazing. Can you hear me okay?
I can. That was just a lot of effort.
It is. Let me put this over here. I'm going to sort of set you up a little bit differently. I apologize to all our viewers. Let's see if I can get back here just a little bit. I wonder if that's better. I can't ever tell if my head is cut off or... No.
I'm looking right now on regular old Facebook on my computer to see if it'll get me a better view.
Oh, that would be great. Oh my goodness.
Let's see. You are cut off on, you need to come down some. There.
Like that?
Like that. A little bit further down. A little bit down. Perfect. Like that.
Oh my gosh. I can only see. Is that okay?
You're too close now.
Too close?
Back up a little.
Is that good?
Back up.
That's all I got.
There. Stay put.
Okay.
Stay put.
All right.
We're good.
I'm staying put. Do you know what I see? I mean, you could barely hear me. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
You know, what I see on my screen here is I look like the guy from that always just showed his nose above the fence. You never saw his mouth.
Yeah, if anybody watching has not done a Facebook split screen live, you can't tell when you're doing it where you land on the screen for viewers.
Yeah.
So we are looking just fine, and sometimes we don't have heads.
No.
And sometimes we only have noses. One can never tell.
I know. I want to go. All right. So I was listening. It's been like grief central around here on so many levels. And this morning, and not all griefs were about death either. This morning, a really good friend of mine from my laughter group called, and I go, and it was early, and I said, how are you? I said, what's wrong? And she goes, her husband just died very unexpectedly. Yeah. And then, you know, what you do for friends and family is you call others. So that's what I did. And then you write up something and send flowers from me and a friend that's from out another country that we're all good friends. And I'm like, and then, you know, when you have a project due and all of a sudden 2 out of 3 computers like crap out in your house, and you're the person you need to get it done for a webinar, that's a whole nother kind of grief where you know it's like a first world problem, right? And then all of a sudden, but it's your problem, and you have things lined up, and
and you better get it done.
yeah, the webinar is the humor one, and it's the one on dying. I'm dying to tell you about humor, grace, and grief. And yeah, it's like how much information to put out there. Actually, in some ways, I'm just going to redo parts of it, and pictures will speak 1,000 words, and then I can, you know, talk from that. And I think that's what I'm going to do.
That's what all the best experts say to do these days, but I need the words in front of me.
Well, I might write myself a note with each slide, but I'm going to leave off a lot more words, and that way I can, people will be looking at it, whatever. But not just those kind of griefs. I mean, you know, conflicting information really disrupts anyone's order of how things go, would you say? And I feel a certain amount of grief that I don't have. Look at, I can live in chaos pretty easily, but this is even beyond me. And so I'm feeling a grief again with our country because there's too much chaos, and I've lost a sense of order. And, you know, I might be into heavy-duty woo-woo stuff, but I like my science. You know, I totally admit it. I might be a contradictory of terms, but, you know, when I teach my classes, I even look up, what does science say about this? And it's not always kind, but at least there's some order. You don't have conflicting. It's like, who's telling the truth, mommy or daddy? You know what I mean? And that in itself causes a type of loss. At least I, how do you feel about that?
It kind of feels like the way you know things are supposed to be has been yanked. And with as much as has gone on and with as much as is currently going on, just in terms of physical things happening to the country right now and the rest of the planet, we don't need to have that. We need the base to us.
You know,
and the people you're supposed to be able to turn to trust. I mean, I still trust them, but I don't. They're being knocked around too, and that's hard too. It just kind of feels like, where do we go?
Exactly. Where do we go from this? You know, I don't know if in your part of the United States, but here there's a commercial, and where the doctor says, I'm okay, like, you know, or I'm pretty good. That's what? And so it's almost like it's a loss of confidence and a loss of the way things are. I'm not saying things don't need to be shook up sometimes, because I am that person that will do something absurd to change the energy. I will. And class clowns do that a lot. Class clowns also have and so the teacher then feels lost because she doesn't have control. And some punk student, myself, might take that control away from them because I really have no, what's the word? Respect for an authority figure. I got to see what you're doing.
I need to know that you have the respect.
Yeah, you got to earn my respect. And people can lose my respect. So, or they don't really care is probably why I'm losing respect for them. And so, but the losses and we talked about this last week, Jill, grief exhaustion.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about the folks in the South right now. Oh. They're nowhere near done digging out from last week's hurricane.
Right.
And even though the flooding, the hurricane is gone, if you don't live in the South or you don't know people, even though the hurricane's gone, the water's still there, and it's still got to make its way down all of the rivers and tributaries. So the flooding is going to go on for the next week to 10 days.
Yes.
So those who might think that they're safe, they might not be. But further down, there are whole communities that no longer exist.
Right. And if you've ever been in a flood, it's bizarre because it's never like it's done. It's got to ruin everything in the house because there's plaster, and plaster absorbs all the water. And so then there's the mold because it's the South.
Right.
And the fires, a friend of mine in Montana, their kitchen was caught on fire, and a neighbor happened to see it. And it just was, they were able to save the rest of the house, but it's not just, it's when you spray the chemicals to put out the fire and all the soot. I mean, that happens when I'm baking. Daryl comes home, opens up. You can tell I'm not the baker, but he'll come up and open up, all the windows and say, "Oh yeah, I smelt it in the garage." And I go, "But I put a pan under the lasagna." So while I'm making light of that, the soot, the smell from fires, and
I worked in an office where an ex-employee set fire to the building one night, and we didn't have fire alarms that were centralized to the station. So and it was a rural community. By the time someone saw it, everything was toast. And when you have an office and you're doing therapy, you have stuff. You've got your toys and your books and your this and your. And the fire was confined to one main area and then up to the attic, but the water there was literally nothing left. And the books that did survive and the pictures that did survive were just soaked in soot.
Exactly. And so all these people, I mean, some friends in Portland, they have good HVAC system in their house, but their pets couldn't go outside because the air quality was so bad. That's horrible.
Right. No, it was so bad here for several days that I literally go outside. Our pets, we take them out for, a run out, a run in. Their fur needs bath again because now they again smell like smoke when they come in. Yeah. And they've got to feel like their fur has a different texture because of the smoke.
Yeah. It's just.
But and Oregon's got it way worse than we do. They have been decimated. Not that parts of Southern California and Northern California haven't, but
I know
the speed Oregon was taken over was just horrific.
And that's actually, Oregon is my second home. I've been many of those places, and a couple of them I won't be able to visit. Some of the very, very small towns. Because
Yeah, and we've got Vicky on with us right now. Vicky's a funeral director and mortician, and when I see her name, I'm thinking there are so many funeral directors up there facing so many people who've got so many sudden deaths in their families.
yes.
And those deaths are just terrible, and it's going to be hard for those funeral directors to make it somewhat right because we're still in COVID.
Absolutely. So that's why I feel like this week, are you saying something? I'm sorry.
Do their job. They can't, they are the people. I've watched Vicky greet people who are coming in to make arrangements, and her, the first instinct is, they do this.
Right.
And they can't do that.
No, none of us can. I mean, the phone call today, and my friend whose husband just died up in Wisconsin, and I said, I have no words, when it's that sudden. And I go, I love you, and I'm hugging you from afar. And oh my goodness. And she said, I needed to tell other people. And then she said, I need some sparkly from you.
I was wondering where humor was going to go.
Yeah, I just need a little sparkly from you. So I sent flowers, they don't grow sparkly. But I said, I have this amount of money. And I'm saying this because sometimes listening audience doesn't know they can do this. They can say, I need a rainbow of flowers, or I only need yellow, or I only need this. And so I'm sending her a rainbow of flowers from my Canadian friend and myself. And,
nice.
That's the sparkly part. And people don't, it's an interesting thing, and probably like you, I'm one of the first people that usually get called, right? And people don't know, I've done it a lot, so I know a general idea what to do, but generally I just make up stuff coming from, it's all about them. What do they want? What do they need? And that's that ring theory, again, that I talked about. You focus on them. That's comfort in, and they get to dump out. And so, and so I said, okay, what would she want? How would this go? What are the order of the circle of friends? So she said, please contact, my best. We're left 4 buddies, and I and another friend, and I did that. And then you put it on Facebook. I said, don't put this on quite yet. Let it go a little bit while they tell the family.
Right.
So it went out in an email, and then it'll probably go on Facebook later. You gotta, in this day and age,
social media can disrupt that process.
It can. It really can. And here's the other practical thing. When you've been up all night, as she was, I mean, she had just gotten home when she called me. So when you need some sleep and you can't contact, hi there.
Hi, how are you? I'm bringing Walt because I got to get my booby smashed.
Oh, okay. That's your. What's your wife's name again?
Stacy.
Say again.
Stacy.
Stacy. Oh, that was Stacy. Good. So.
And this is Walter. He's our therapy dog.
Oh yeah, that's Walter, right?
Right. He has no eyes.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, social media. It's a really When my second wife died, we were both hospice. We both worked for hospice, and it was our hospice who was there. And of course, when someone dies, the team leader puts it out so that all the other people who do care, it goes out on the cell phone text messaging system so that everyone knows that particular patient on service has died. What happened was several people who got it from the agency immediately hopped on Facebook.
No.
Immediately said, "Oh, Jill, I'm so sorry. Casper was so special. We're all going to miss her." And I hadn't had time to make
Right.
several of those calls.
Yeah. And that was even before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, seriously? So it's, maybe we need a death etiquette class. I think you and I should teach a death etiquette.
I think it needs to start with you show up for the services, you send a note,
Yeah.
you pull over for the funeral procession.
Yeah. But what
remember
do you,
some
and
2 weeks after.
And, don't go on social media to post anything till they post it.
No.
That's even pre-COVID.
Yeah. Let it be.
Yeah.
Let them do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little known fact is when someone here in California, when someone dies, the coroner's office has to be notified right away.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are registered, if the person who died has been registered as a donor, then that triggers an automatic phone call to the registry that accepts the donations.
Right.
And it's not for like organs if someone has died at home, but they're still looking for all kinds of other donations. So within an hour of that person dying, the primary person identified on the death certificate gets a phone call from an organ and tissue bank and asking, I'm so sorry so-and-so died, but I need to ask you these things right now. Do you want to maintain their wish, to be a donor? And they're wanting a donor, so they're all about what their wishes are. And then if you say yes, then they have to ask what you want to donate. Skin, muscle, tissue, bone, eyes, like they parcel out the body. And then if you say yes to any of it, then you have to go through the entire sexual history and health history of the person who died. And then they have to do full disclosure. So they tell you how they retrieve tissue. This is within an hour of someone dying because they need to be able to get to the mortuary and grab the deceased to go to their facility and take care of things. But that's a long, ugly phone call if you don't know it's coming, even if you do.
That is hard. Can you hear me okay? A phone call came in. I apologize. And then I don't know how everything works here. Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, because just imagine they're visualizing everything about their loved one.
And you know what? I had someone who was a Deb. I had a person with a sense of humor. Said, okay, if you're going to say yes, I'm going to warn you now. You don't want to hear what I'm going to say. So what I want you to do is I'm going to tell you, put the phone out. Then I'm going to read the disclosure. Then I'm going to yell your name. And then you're going to bring the phone back up. And then we're going to do that until we get done. And that's how we did it.
Yeah.
And it was a much better experience. And we could laugh. We laughed a little bit. As I was telling the history, we laughed through it. And that's where that humor being really important, even in the most initial stages of grief, is so important. You got to be able to laugh.
Yeah, you'd think we would be able to just pull it together better after so many years of doing it, but squeaky wheels get the grease, and I wish even if the person who's the primary person to call after the deceased donates, you would think, and sort of like you could say, I'm going to hand the phone over to so and so.
You can't.
Exactly.
Because
I mean, that's too hard. I've watched enough things on television when someone donates and then they have to talk to the family. I gotta tell you this cool thing, speaking of which, for the first time in a long time in Champaign County, we have somebody else running for coroner.
Oh.
And one of the things I just love, one, she worked for public health, but number two, she, until a family member received organs, a donation, she never considered it. And now she's a big proponent of it. So, and she worked for public health as I did. And to sort of give a little bit different perspectives than what we've had. Excited. Plus, it's a she and not a he. It's a person of color and not white male that we've had forever.
Right.
And, you know, to be able to, well, I'm going to get some yard signs. That's really cool. But I wrote her and said, I just so appreciate how you talked about this. How can I help? Well, you know, the floodgates of volunteering are there. Money and signs I can do. But the reason why I say that is, you know, maybe to talk with her a little bit about organ donation and what happens.
And there's organ donation, which is what happens when someone is, you know, the tragic accident. And so they're at the hospital and they can preserve the functioning of the body in order to get the organs. And that's one thing. But then if someone has died at home, then there's tissue and skin and bone. And it's necessary, but I do want to caution folks, if they have a real need to have a casket burial, it is really a lot to undo that process to make a really nice casket burial possible with an open casket. So if you've got people coming in from out of area and they need to come say goodbye, then that may not be something that they want to really consider.
I know I think it's time to, it's almost time to end, but I wanted to just put this out to you. I know we're going to be getting some new equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we won't meet next Friday, which would be unusual, but maybe let's hold off of Friday and then we'll advertise again. I know we're getting, the other Facebook page got deleted. Hopefully it stays that way. Always go with the one with the palm trees, which.
Or the palm girls.
Yeah, and you know, we're gonna see how things work out, and hopefully to our viewers, we're gonna get a little more freshened up and practice, and I think that's gonna be the best, so that we can, especially as this time of the holiday season is rapidly approaching, and you want to talk grief? Oi. Oi, oi, oi. And also to our viewers, whoever is part of the Jewish persuasion, it is the Jewish New Year. And I want to wish a Happy New Year to those people. I don't know when Ramadan is. That should be coming up too, right?
Should be coming up soon. And
okay.
With New Year comes also the very high holiest days, which is Yom Kippur. Which
Yom Kippur is coming up. And that's in about 10 days.
Right. Exactly
So
10 days.
next week, actually. So we are gonna not, we won't be on next week, but we'll put something out. And yeah, just this has been great this whole summer. So we're gonna come back stronger and
Yep.
better visuals, and
Better with
we
a
will.
social program.
Yeah, yeah. All right, dear. Well,
Right.
I will write you after the broadcast, as I usually do, and I will talk to you soon.
All
Sign
right.
us
Thank you very
out,
much.
okay?
I will do my best. Wait, you're the one who's in charge today.
No, oh, yes, I did. So I'm going to say finish. Bye-bye,
Yes.
everyone.
Bye.